What's up, Xenocide? How you doing, dude? People like, oh, if a build mentions Mothership Core, it's too old. So here's like the big thing I've been saying for 5 years now. Guys.
Head out.
You can take an opening from 2016, a build from then. Do you know what you can do? This might break your brain, so be careful. Be careful, watch out. Just don't build the Mothership Core. That's it. That's the adjustment. The build still works. You're like, but then I have 100 minerals and 100 gas. You're like, cool, build another gateway unit and get your tech a little bit faster. What? The timings are off. And I'm like, what do you look at exact game timers? You're like, I need to put my Twilight down at 3:45 or something? Nobody does that. Come on. Let's be real. I remember when they got rid of that and people were like, well, Pig, your beginner build doesn't work anymore. I need a new one. I'm like, why? And they're like, well, the mothership doesn't exist. I'm like, just don't build it. And they're like, I don't understand. I'm like, it's not that hard, guys. Seriously, this is... I'm like, but if the... I don't want to use my own brain. The whole point of learning a build is so I don't have to think. And I'm like, oh, that really should not be what a build... A build should help give you a direction. But if you're not making that shit your own, oh no. Like, you're gonna struggle really hard. Any build, you should always be branching off and making it your own. The more experience you get with it, so... Just, yeah, make sure you guys try to stay loose, creative with your play. And remember, you can use those really old builds. Obviously, builds that are based around a different form of Cyclone. That's an exception to the rule. You're like, oh, this build is about rushing with Cyclones. Obviously, that's a build you probably want to change. But even builds that have like a single defensive Cyclone or something, like usually it's a small tweak to that build order to get it quite right. So I think what's more important than picking, people are like, oh, what's a solid build for the current meta? So there's this crazy, the thing as well I always like to complain about is people always want a solid build for the current meta. And it's not a bad question. It was a great question in Heart of the Swarm. But the thing is, in Legacy of the Void, it don't really work like that, man. So the kind of issue that comes around is basically there's a different meta at every level of play, and it changes all the time, and there's, you know, it doesn't sit the same, and you can't just do the exact same opening with no understanding the kind of way you could to some extent in Heart of the Swarm. A little bit more. I'm not saying, oh, people were dumb in Heart of the Swarm and didn't play the game or anything. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that... Oh, you're gonna take damage! I'd like to get a third hatch up to add some flexibility, but it's a 2-base meter build. I'm not actually hating on anyone, by the way. I know it sounds like I'm like going on a crazy rant and shit. It's all fine. I'm just pointing out that, like, yeah, I think the more important thing for staying kind of fluid is just keep looking to make builds your own whenever you're using them. Oh shit, we haven't started it yet, have we? He's making a Chad. Awesome. Get an overseer. Get it out of there.
The enemy has met your Zerg.
In a hostile way.
Your Zerg sniffed out the enemy. Ouch!
So he sees the spire, right? Hello. These guys can go back. So, a lot of the time, if you're not playing super pro, you know, ultra safe, high level players like Disc, you can kind of just get away with more and often just kind of continue up to the meters. But you can see I'm being a little bit more like, oh, okay. Let's not just beeline towards the thing without thinking about it.
Your reserve base is under assault.
They do that.
So we are going to still make a bunch of mutas. So, how many Phoenix did you build? 2. Okay. And cannons. Okay. I should have hidden like 20, I guess, against him because he's so predictable. Okay, those are gonna hide. Hopefully he builds more. I can go
Can't do that.
there. I can go there.
The enemy has met your Zerg.
In a hostile way.
I think we got to a decent economic position. And we are going to keep upgrading that. Because remember, we're meant to try and keep our eyes on this. So if he comes across the map...
They do that. You mutated some
Your
of
creep
Zergs
tumor's in
sniffed out the
danger.
enemy. These
What did army look like? Oh, it's a Stalker Colossus. Okay. No worries. Yeah, I mean, you can play the style against it. It's just going to be... We're playing Disc, right? So the longer I play, the more I'm like, ooh, I'm probably going to need to make a hive at some point.
In a hostile way. You've mined a whole cluster.
Nothing left of it now.
A mineral field is gone. Mineral field's depleted. You've mined a whole cluster.
Your Zerg sniffed out the enemy.
Mineral field is gone.
Oh dear.
Your Zerg are picking a fight.
They do that. The enemy has met your Zerg. Enemy strike at your weak fleshy drones.
A mineral field is gone.
Oh dear.
The enemy's destroying your creep tumor. Zerg are done mutating.
Intriguing.
Your Zerg are picking a fight.
They do that.
So many banelings!
Mind a whole cluster. That was more
Got
fun
him.
than I expected.
I prefer watching you, Matthew.
Two-base muta, not a bad build. I was greedy at a few points there. But yeah, this is... I was not confident this would work. But he just got a little out of position there. Those mutas kind of came in and just... So most of his Phoenix were like chilling somewhere. I don't know. They were hiding or like watching for drops or something. They're here. Yeah. So my mutas were just waiting up here until his Phoenix showed themselves on my side of the map, and they'd come in, kill a few probes, and then hide again. Or if he shows a warp prism at any point, they'd go and hunt it down. So I tried to shut down this prism so I could come in from this side as well. I didn't realize his army would be standing so close. I thought he'd be guarding his fourth. So I was like, oh, what the fuck? I was like, okay, go. Otherwise, if we thought that, this army would have been further forward, ready to jump on it. But I didn't want to get snagged into a half-assed engagement, which is why I was a bit further back. So when this fight happens, I've got 62 Banes, 21 more finishings. That's 83 Banes, 9 Ravagers, 11 Roaches, 33 Zerglings, another 14 Zerglings in production. That first Disruptor shot doesn't find big damage. This one, I react very late, but it works out perfectly. I don't lose too many. And then all of his balls are too clumped. Where's his force field? He doesn't have Colossus even to deal with the Lings. Not that I have many Lings. The problem is, all of his Disruptor Splash is here in a nice tight clump where my Banelings can blow it up, right? So he fires these Disruptor shots, and I just click on him. And I'm like, nope. And Banes aren't the most effective anti-disruptor unit, but when there's 3 next to each other that are mid-shot, fuck yes, I will trade. I will take that trade. And then, you know, force fields are good, but the Stalkers don't actually do that much damage. His Storm, he's going into 2 Colossus and Storm right now. So if any of that got up, think about how fucked we could be in this game, right? We might have been screwed. There's a few Roaches and Ravagers and Lings that finish that base. We kill every probe here. Even if he eventually cleaned this up by getting the Void Ray over here and stuff, like, he was going to have pretty much dead everything. So he'd be 2 base versus 72 drones. You can notice I didn't rebuild Queens. I wasn't really investing in a hive, even though I had the Infestation Pit. I was only at 72 drones. This was quite all in. And, I mean, it's just, he committed a bit too much to kind of Phoenix. He had the safety Void Ray. He was playing this ultra careful style. And the thing with ultra careful styles is the moment you go out in the open, it might just be a little bit too early and, oh, you actually just needed to sit back and wait for another 30 seconds. So the problem is he was in such a defensive scouting focus, he wasn't checking the hive anymore, right? He's trying to get a hallucinate down, but he's not really seeing a few important things. Number one, is there a hive going? Because that should tell him he needs to start fighting me, right? What else? Is the 4th fully saturated? And or drones on the 5th base. And you might go, oh, that's pretty fully saturated. No, it's not. There's no gas there. And it's barely saturated. That's very different to a fully saturated 4th with both gases going. Oh, what's the difference? 8 drones, the 6 mining plus the 2 in the extractors. Doesn't sound like a lot. It's a lot. If you've got that, and then another bunch of drones on the 5th, oh shit, this Zerg player has an economy. This guy can go late game. This guy can roll into me all day long, right? But I was only on 72 workers. No hive started, so there was no way for me to go past Ravagers, Banelings, and Mutas. I had no tech open to me other than that. No Vipers, no Broodlords, no Ultras. And as a result, there's no pressure on Disc to do anything except try to establish a 4th, so he doesn't fall too far behind economically. But yeah, he was also quite low on sentries, interestingly, which I thought he might have a few more of those with this composition, right? Yeah, GG's. Worked out. Thank you very much for the strategy request there, Plox. I think against Zerg or against Terran, you can kind of force the mutas a lot more. We said that before the game started, so I'm not sure if you guys watching on YouTube saw that. But we knew that essentially, if we play Protoss, because they have the hard counter, the Phoenix, and then the super hard counter, the Phoenix with range, it is something where you've got to be a little bit, better at checking that out. What I could have done to improve my cane, make an Overseer and get it in there. And if I see the cannons and the Phoenix building, don't build those 8 mutas. Maybe build like 3 mutas just to show them popping out. Let the Oracle see them rallying across the map to trick your opponents. And oh, I'm going to keep building more Phoenix. But there was no, the mutas did not serve much of a function. It would have been better to do that. GG's.